Sharon Stone, once the crown jewel of Hollywood and the ultimate sex symbol of the 1990s, became a global icon through her unforgettable portrayal of Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct. At the height of her fame, she graced red carpets with unmatched beauty and allure, admired by millions. But her glamorous life took a tragic turn when a brain hemorrhage left her with only a 1% chance of survival. 9 days on the brink of death stripped her of her memory, her ability to walk, her marriage, and custody of her beloved child. Now at 67, after years of resilience and rebuilding, she faces yet another devastating blow, proving her life has been a series of storms met with unwavering strength. Her story began far from the flashing lights, in the industrial town of Meadville, Pennsylvania, where she was born on March 10, 1958. With an IQ of 154, she was gifted yet isolated, her brilliance often a lonely burden. She endured childhood injuries, including a serious neck accident at 9 and a horseback fall at 14, both early lessons in fragility and endurance. Raised by a disciplined father and devoted mother, she learned toughness early, completing high school by 15 and earning a scholarship to Edinburgh University. Behind every achievement, however, was a young woman carrying dreams too big for the small-town world around her, a resilience that would later define her fight through fame, tragedy, and survival. At 18, Sharon Stone's life took a sharp turn when she entered and won a local beauty pageant in 1976, a victory that opened the door to New York City and a modeling contract with the Ford agency. Her face soon appeared on magazine covers, yet behind the polished images was a deep sense of emptiness. Modeling left her feeling like a mannequin, admired but voiceless, fueling a hunger for a career that allowed true expression. Hollywood, however, was not immediately welcoming. Casting rooms were harsh arenas where she was told she wasn't the right kind of beautiful or sexy enough for the roles she sought. Still, Sharon refused to be shaped by those judgments, determined instead to prove her worth on her own terms. The late 1970s and early 1980s became a period of persistence and quiet victories. She took acting classes, accepted every small role she could find, and built her craft step by step. Her film debut came in Woody Allen's Stardust Memories, 1980, followed by a part in the low-budget horror Deadly Blessing, 1981, and a supporting role in Irreconcilable Differences, 1984. None of these made her a star, but they laid the foundation of her career, each role sharpening her skills and strengthening her resolve. No longer the isolated genius from Meadville, Sharon was becoming a fighter, carrying discipline, determination, and the firm belief that when her defining role appeared, she would meet it fully prepared. Sharon Stone's personal life was often marked by heartbreak that contrasted sharply with her professional rise. In 1984, at just 26, she married television producer Michael Greenberg, hoping to build a shared future grounded in mutual understanding of their demanding careers. While the early days seemed promising, constant work commitments kept them living parallel lives rather than truly together. By 1987, the marriage had quietly ended without public scandal, leaving Sharon without children and with her first taste of deep, private loss. She spoke little about Michael afterward, never in anger, only with quiet acceptance of a silence she learned to live with. Still open to love, she began a relationship with country star Dwight Yoakam in 1988. Their initial connection was easy and warm, but clashing schedules once again made closeness difficult. With no fights or bitterness, the relationship dissolved, leaving Sharon with the soft grief of a goodbye that held no blame, only the sadness of something slipping away. In 1993, at the height of her fame, Sharon thought she might finally find lasting stability when she met San Francisco businessman William J. McDonald. He seemed to offer the grounded, private life she longed for, and within months they were engaged. But public scrutiny, fueled by remarks from his former wife, began eroding the safe space they had built. Sharon stayed silent, but the intrusion was a constant strain, and by the end of the year the engagement ended quietly, with the ring returned by FedEx. That moment was more than the close of a relationship. It was a reminder that even love full of promise can be undone by forces beyond the couple themselves, leaving behind only the weight of what might have been. Sharon Stone's marriage to journalist Phil Bronstein began in 1998 as a beacon of hope after years in Hollywood's relentless spotlight. At 40, she longed for stability and a family, and Phil seemed to embody that dream. Their early days were filled with intimacy and healing, yet beneath the surface lay an unspoken struggle, Sharon's desperate wish to become a mother. Battling endometriosis and an autoimmune disease, she endured multiple miscarriages between 1998 and 2000, each one deepening what she would later call her silent grief. At 42, she faced the devastating reality that she might never have a biological child, until adopting her son Roan in 2000. For a while, his presence seemed to mend their hearts, but the weight of past loss, public life, and conflicting demands strained the marriage. The turning point came in 2001 when Sharon suffered a life-threatening brain hemorrhage. With only a 1% chance of survival, she endured delayed diagnosis, a stroke, and massive internal bleeding, all while holding on to one thought: she had to live for her son. Her recovery was a grueling journey that took 7 years, during which she had to relearn how to walk, read, write, and speak, often without proper medical support. But while she was still fighting her way back, Phil filed for divorce in 2003, igniting a custody battle that ended in 2008 with him being granted full custody of Roan. In court, Sharon's fitness as a mother was questioned in ways that cut deeply, including the suggestion that her past acting roles made her unfit. The loss left her gutted, calling it the most heartbreaking chapter of her life. Even so, Sharon's story did not end in defeat. The collapse of her marriage, the loss of custody, and the fight for her life could have destroyed her, yet they became the fires that forged her resilience. She emerged from those years forever changed, not untouched, but unbroken. She carried the scars of love lost and battles fought, but also the strength of a survivor who had walked through the worst and still found a way forward. As she would later reflect, survival changes you, strips you of illusions, and forces you to see life differently. For Sharon Stone, it meant learning to live not in the shadow of what she had lost, but in the light of the strength she had gained. Sharon Stone's recovery after her brain hemorrhage was painfully slow, both physically and emotionally. The grueling rehabilitation left her battling not only her health but also the harsh reality of Hollywood's fading interest. Once one of the most sought-after stars commanding millions per film, she began losing out on roles, seeing casting calls vanish, and watching the industry quietly move on. Her golden reputation dimmed, replaced by whispers that she was no longer the same, while A-list invitations stopped arriving. Financially, the setbacks were devastating: legal fees from her custody battle, mounting medical expenses, and the loss of lucrative roles wiped out her $18 million savings. Many assets weren't even in her own name, leaving her with little security. Still, she clung to small victories, walking unaided across a room, reading her son a bedtime story without stumbling over words, and learning to embrace progress measured in personal milestones rather than career triumphs. Despite losing her marriage, custody of her son, her health, much of her fortune, and the career momentum she had spent decades building, Sharon's resilience never fully faded. She began working again, not for prestige but to reclaim her sense of self. By speaking openly about her ordeal, she raised awareness of stroke warning signs, the dangers of delayed medical care, and the hidden struggles of chronic illness. In her own words, coming so close to death stripped away the noise and made her fight only for what mattered: her son, her health, her dignity, and her will to live. What could have been the end instead became an unplanned second act, forged not in Hollywood's glitter but in hospital rooms, therapy sessions, and the unwavering belief that her story was far from over. After enduring storms, heartbreak, and a near-fatal health crisis, Sharon Stone emerged transformed, determined to live for herself rather than for Hollywood's applause or public expectations. She channeled her pain into painting, finding in the canvas a silent yet powerful voice to express the fractured light of memory, the colors of loss, and the hues of healing. Her artwork soon moved from personal therapy to public acclaim, with exhibitions in San Francisco, Berlin, and a plan showing at Rome's Arapaces Museum. Alongside her art, Sharon deepened her lifelong commitment to philanthropy, helping raise millions for HIV/AIDS research, supporting homeless youth, building schools, and funding education programs. For her, giving back was not about image but about turning suffering into a force for good. Motherhood became the anchor of her new life, as she raised her 3 sons, Rowan, Laird, and Quinn, with a focus on presence and stability over red carpets and industry prestige. She continued acting in projects aligned with her evolving values and rediscovered modeling as both creatively fulfilling and financially rewarding. By 2025, her net worth rebounded to between $25 million and $60 million, bolstered by smart investments, valuable real estate like her 25-year West Hollywood home and past holdings in San Francisco and Montana, and a growing art career. She embraced natural aging, maintained her health with careful medical management, and found contentment in a life built on resilience, creativity, and purpose rather than the fleeting glamour of stardom. Today, Sharon Stone stands as a testament to resilience, living a life rooted in health, love, and purpose. Through meditation, light exercise, and a deep respect for the body that carried her through storms, she has cultivated a hard-earned peace. No longer chasing validation, she graces red carpets and film sets on her own terms, with projects like What About Love and the upcoming Nobody 2 and In Memoriam, while her art continues to touch hearts worldwide. Once labeled a sex symbol, she is now celebrated as a symbol of Hollywood endurance, a woman who transformed unimaginable loss into a life filled with meaning. In West Hollywood with her 3 sons, she embraces a rhythm built on depth and connection, proving that beauty lies not in unmarked skin but in the grace of carrying scars. Her light has simply changed color, glowing warmer and richer with time, and to those facing their own trials, she offers this truth: if she can rise again, so can you.